Hey guys, today we're going to look at the Benchmade Foray, model number 698. But as usual, we'll start out with the specs, move on to the features, talk about some pros and cons, and then we'll wrap things up with why you should or should not buy this knife. But first, some specs. So you guys sit tight. Hey guys, I'm Jay, and well, before you is the Benchmade Foray, model number 698. Now I gotta say that this knife is actually just a little bit out of character for me, because, you know, I tend to gravitate towards knives that have like broader blades, maybe weigh a little bit more, just, you know, larger overall. And this is definitely a huge change, because while I wouldn't call it a small knife, but you know, it's definitely not large. All right, first guys, I want to go ahead and bring in some other knives just so you can kind of get an idea of the size of the knife that we're working with today. Of course, the Benchmade Griptilian, the Paramilitary 2, and I'll bring out this one, and it's really just going to be because it has a very, very similar blade style to the Foray, and it is the Kaiser Velox 2. So this knife would be classified as a manual action axis lock, and well, you guys all know how good the Benchmade axis lock is, and this thing is just absolutely smooth. Just a great fondling knife, it really is. I mean, I could do this all stinking day. So it is very flickable, and it's almost to the point where it's dropping shut. It's close, it's very close, but I will reach that point very soon. Benchmade did go ahead and give us a, well, pretty decent sized sharpening choil, and as you might have noticed, the liners are just standard, but they actually did, see if I can show you, see that? Yes sir, they did go ahead and mill out those liners, actually on both sides, so just to reduce this low weight even more. And if we flip it over to the back side, it is open construction with just those 3 barrel spacers back there. And now I believe that this is a little bit wider than a pencil. Let's see. Oh yeah, most definitely is wider than a pencil. Now the balance on this is also pretty darn good. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. That is just beautiful. Very nice. How about we go ahead and get a weight on this guy here? You guys see that? Yep, that is 3.5 ounces, which is going to be the equivalent of 4 AA batteries. Very nice. Now the Foray did actually come standard with a deep carry pocket clip, not this one. Let me show you. This is actually the clip that comes on the Foray, but I went ahead and swapped it out just because I don't like when the pocket clip takes up more than half of the area on the handle. So I did swap it out for a shorter clip, but this is the one that is going to come on it, and it is a deep carry. This is going to be tip up only for lefties and for righties alike. Another fantastic feature of the Foray is the jimping. Yes, there is just the one area of jimping right here at the top of the handle by the pivot. So I really, it bugs me when a lot of knives, when they kind of go overboard with the jimping, and this one they kept it very, very subtle. The centering on the Foray is also absolutely dead friggin' on. Look at that. Very nice, Benchmade. Now there is a fairly decent sized external stop pin on the Foray, and Benchmade also included one very, very small lanyard hole. Yeah, that is going to be for kite string. There is one other variant of the Foray, and you can also get it in a combo blade, you know, with part of it being serrated. Now I would like to go ahead and get into the good and the bad stuff about the Foray, because there is quite a bit to cover here. First I want to go ahead and start out with the good, and the first item on my list would be the blade steel. This is actually CPM 20 CV, so this thing is not going to need to be sharpened very much. I mean, as long as you go ahead and maintain the blade with like a strop, because if you let this go completely dull, oh my gosh, you are going to be cursing at your sharpener, because it is going to take you quite a while. Now the blade, I don't know if you noticed the blade stock, it's actually fairly thick for a knife of this size. Yeah, it's about 3.5 millimeters, which, I don't know, I always like to see that, because it just kind of instills confidence that I know that this thing can handle, you know, quite a few different tasks. It's also very, very pocketable, and what I mean by that is that it is not going to take up very much room in your pocket at all. I mean, what did we say? The closed width is about 1.059 inches completely across. I mean, so this is not going to take up too much room. However, now the handle is a little over half an inch thick. You're looking at 0.56, but that is just because of the blade. I mean, it has to house a blade that's 3.5 millimeters. So now, because of that blade width, and you know, the scales having to accommodate a blade of that size, this thing is going to be really, really easy to clean out, because there's a lot of room, you know, just to get in there. And did you notice the pivot screws? There, and look at on the axis lock studs. Yeah, they all match. It's really, really nice that they all match together. I also really enjoy this blade shape. I mean, look at that, with that nice swedge there up at the top. Very, very attractive. And yes, there is a very, very subtle recurve on this blade. I mean, it's almost hard to tell that it's actually there. The weight being at about 3.5 ounces, that's just awesome. I mean, it makes this just such a joy to carry, and just a nice knife to have on me at all times. I mean, it doesn't take up much room, and it also doesn't weigh that much. And now, if you look at the handle scales, they did not overdo it with the screws here. Even though that there are the 3 barrel spacers, there's only 2 visible body screws on the scales. So Benchmade did a fantastic job of concealing those screws and keeping this as a, you know, overall clean looking knife. Now, I know I already mentioned a little bit about the action, and it is just simply fantastic, and that's considering that this is riding on bronze phosphor washers. Yep, that's right, no bearings in here. So sometimes it's nice to, especially like maybe a harder use knife, it's nice to have the the bronze washers because they're a little bit easier to clean out than, well, you know, the ones with ball bearings. Benchmade also did a fantastic job with the blade to handle ratio. I think the handle measures in about 4.14 inches and a blade length of 3.24. So that is just a phenomenal blade to handle ratio. Now, even though, as you can tell from this glowing review, how much I like this knife, unfortunately there is some bad. There's a couple things that I do not care for as much. And you know what, they're probably not all that serious of gripes, but nonetheless they are gripes. As I was stating at the beginning of this video, this is a little bit of a smaller knife than I would normally carry. I mean, I tend to like, I mean, geez, you know, the Griptilian with that, and that broad blade. I really, really enjoy knives that have that aesthetic. So this is a little bit smaller of a knife, so just so you're not surprised if you do decide to pull the trigger on this thing, it is a little smaller than it might appear to be. Now the blade length is about 3.24 inches. You know, why not just round it up to 3.25? That I really just don't get. And considering that this is a pretty small knife, now I don't know if 3 barrel spacers were actually required here, but you know, I mean, you could probably take off 1 or 2 of those and that would help to, I mean, I know it wouldn't reduce the weight that much, but it would make a lighter knife, well, even lighter. One last gripe, and it's a minor one, but it bugs me, so I gotta mention it. Now this is, you can't actually shake this open. Trying not to hit the camera here. Let me see if I can get it one more time. There we go. Yes, so it is able to shake open. It's not easy to shake open, but it does happen. I just want you to be aware of that if it bothers you. Well, what do you guys say? Do you guys want to know how much this damn handsome knife cost? You're looking at about $191 or 161.865 euro for those of my friends out in Europe. But yes, so $191, which, yeah, is that a lot? Absolutely it is. But you know what, I kind of think it's fair here. I can't believe I'm saying that a knife that's almost $200, that's a fair price. But when you consider what you're getting and the way that this thing feels in your hand, in my hand, you know what, it really is, that price is justified. I know Benchmade has a tendency to, well, inflate their prices. But I definitely think that this one deserves it. I really do. So I'm sure by now you guys pretty much know where I'm gonna land with this knife. So I definitely, yes, I do highly recommend it. Now keep in mind, this is coming from a guy that does not like smaller folders. I don't own that many smaller folders, and this one, something about it's just right. I mean, the action, the blade steel, the weight, it really is just a joy to carry. But I really just want to reiterate and drive home that fact that, you know, it is on the smaller side. So I of course would like to leave you guys with a question, and that question is going to pertain to the axis lock and Spyderco's compression lock. Which do you prefer? If you could only pick one, which lock would you rather have? Spyderco's compression or Benchmade's axis? So please post your answers in the comments section below. I really enjoy reading and responding to that stuff. So if you're a collector and you're looking to add some more stuff to your already growing collection, or maybe you're just someone that's looking for that one darn good knife to use as a tool, then go ahead and click on subscribe, because I am constantly uploading new videos several times a week. And if you feel that this video answered most of your questions about the Benchmade Foray, then go ahead and would you please leave a like? I'd really appreciate it. So I want to thank you guys for stopping by, hanging out, and letting me talk knives with you, and I will see you at the next video. You guys take care.